How much of Soundiron's success as a developer do you think is from looking out and testing and analytics versus luck and passion for what you guys do?
I'd say it's 50-50, but the way it seems to come about is we usually just depend on luck. We try things, and then we look back at the analytics when we can to try to figure out, did that work or didn't it work? When we decide what libraries to do or what to do, usually it's just our gut. It's like, what do we want? Like, sometimes you find cool new instruments you want to catch. Sometimes you just have an idea that you want to follow. We don't choose libraries based on any sort of market analysis, because we found our customers see us, I think, more like a band than as a business. We're a small group. We decide as a group what we want to do and how we want to do it. We listen to our customers. And so I think it's more like direct feedback and thinking, being users and thinking like users and thinking about what we creatively want to accomplish and what people who are like-minded might want to hear, what kinds of tools they might want to have.
What has been like an obstacle or a challenge of which library in particular that you've worked on, and what ways did you find to overcome some of those obstacles?
Personally, I spent a long time just trying to modernize older products and struggling with my own poor decisions from the past on how to build things. So it's been doing that. One of the big ones was the update for Ambius that we did, where we combined them all into Ambius Prime. I tried to utilize a lot of the new Native Instruments controls that they had. They finally did an XY pad available, and I tried to make sure I did that, make it as flexible as possible with as many different LFOs and things you could do to make it really like a good sound design drone kind of library. But I ran into a lot of issues just personally with that, because I'm pretty much the only scripter, and just getting all that done and fighting with limitations in the software, because I had these ideas and I got them sketched out for what I wanted to work and how I wanted the user to interact with everything. And from that point to actually something usable was, at least 4 months. At least 4 months.
What do you feel is the most innovative product or feature that you've gotten to work on or develop into a sample library?
It was definitely getting all the LFOs, being able to have it modulate different targets and have different sources between key positions, velocities, LFOs. Getting all that with all the different targets, they finally made that available, and that was definitely the best thing, personally, I think, for us that has come out of that when developing contact products.
For you, Mike, what do you consider to be the most innovative product in any way that you guys have done, and why?
A couple of them, like Cylindrum and Friendo, things like that, where we built the instrument from scratch, where we were trying to do math and physics to try to explore how the sound, how to create the sound we were after. Whereas with something like Glitch Hero, it's entirely sound design. And each sort of chapter of that series is built to capture different essence or flavor of sound design or sort of synthesizer electronic instrument. We try to approach everything we do, every library, thinking how do we go deeper? So when we do any kind of library, we also always include bonus content. We think of what features would make this cooler. Not even just what fits or what works, but what could be cool?
Where do you think we could be seeing innovations in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think being able to bring in synthesis and morphing and other types of sound manipulation, FFT, processes and other things being built into the engines, or being able to mimic those using script in something like Contact or another engine, I think that's going to become more common. The ability to take sounds and really mess with them. So you have an organic or an acoustic instrument that you can just do weird shit with. I think that is probably going to be coming along strong as more engines start to try to bring in more features like that. There we go.
Are there any other software developers or plugins or any kind of software, any of their specific innovations? Is there something you kind of gravitate towards, or even say to yourself, oh, that's so cool, how could I use something like that in my work?
Piece of software I always gravitate to, personally, when I make music or anything, is it's actually a free program called Hourglass. It started out as just grain synthesis, but the flexibility that you have, and like he let you load VSTs within it and have different tracks and being able to like grains, send and receive different effects on these different grains and have all these different effects. And it was one of the most flexible things that's the kind of power and customizability that I want to build into our products.
I was going to stop there, but you guys have been teasing working in the studio with string players for a while. Is there anything you can tell us about that library?
Yeah, so we've been working on our Hyperion Strings project for actually quite a while. What's different is that it approaches it from our mentality. It's a chamber size, and it's very close mic'd. So you hear the players in absolute detail. You hear the bow on the strings. You hear every detail. And for us, that was kind of big, important part of it. It's also recorded here, Fantasy Studios in Berkeley. So it's got a brilliant classic live room that's perfect because it's got a very present, warm, direct sound. And then we'll basically allow users to control proximity and positioning and control the space using convolution. There'll be mic distances that help further emulate that, but we decided to go with a drier sound rather than cathedral because there are so many kinds of music where a string section that sounds like it was recorded with a band makes more sense than a big, far-off cathedral sound. That'll be going public in the next 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks, and then we'll be releasing more content for it following, over the next year. All working together, basically a chamber ensemble, but with a lot of unusual brass and wind instruments as well. And gradually we'll be adding all kinds of different soloists and sections to basically create a full-scale symphony orchestra, but with a very present, close sound that works as kind of a wraparound solution.